With me now, Republican Congressman from Texas, Ron Paul. Congressman Paul, it's a pleasure. Welcome here. Where do things stand now with this tax package in the House? Is the government going to shut down? Are the Democrats even going to allow this tax bill, which keeps the tax rates, the income tax rates where they are, to come to the floor for a vote?
Well, we're in recess now, so the vote is not pending. It may come later tonight. It may come tomorrow. I predict that the government will not shut down and that the vote will finally come out and they'll iron out their differences. But the fight is, between some of the Democrats. So whatever they decide, they do want to have some amendments. They want more debate, the people who are objecting. But I suspect that when the day is over, tomorrow's over, they're going to pass the tax package. But I guess we have to still wait and see. But it's been a couple hours now. We're just sitting here waiting for the Democrats to sort things out.
Some of your colleagues on the Republican side, Congressman Paul, tell me that the number of Republicans in opposition in the House to the tax package is growing. And their theory is that the tax cuts are not accompanied by enough spending cuts. And besides, the estate tax is raised and the unemployment insurance, which the federal government should have nothing whatsoever to do, is being extended by 13 months. So they're going to vote against it. And some of them, a few of whom you know very well, have told me it could be as many as 60 or 70 Republicans voting against this deal. What are you hearing?
I haven't heard any numbers like that, because I am going to vote for the package, because I don't look at it as if I'm raising the inheritance tax at all. I'm voting to keep it from going to 50%. Because if you do nothing, if nothing is passed, the inheritance tax will be 50, and taxes are going to go up over $800 billion. And yes, there's spending in there, but if you weigh the amount of spending versus the amount of tax cuts, it's overwhelmingly in favor of tax cuts. It is true, spending is a big problem. There are some problems in the bill. The problems aren't as big as said, because a lot of people who are against the bill say that tax credits are a problem and they're special. I don't do that. I give tax credits to everybody. And if you want to equalize tax credits, give more tax credits so everybody gets them, and don't do this micromanaging through the tax code. But of course, this is a reflection of how inept the government is, and the Congress, and the tax code. We need to get rid of the tax code, the income tax, and we need to have a rule in the House that says only clean bills that we should vote on. That would solve some of our problems, but we're not there today for sure.
Would it be a good thing fiscally and philosophically if the government did shut down for a few weeks and the American people could see life would go on without the federal government for a little while?
I don't think it would hurt one bit. You know, if an individual can't pay their rent on time, they might ask their landholder to say, look, I'll be there next week. They adjust. The owner and the renter adjust. And this is the way the government should adjust. They should, if they can't pay their bills, wait. But they're afraid the world would panic and the world would come to an end. But it would be an admission that we're in big trouble. But we are in big trouble. But to deny it and to continue to spend and continue to inflate and then waiting for the bond bubble to burst, that doesn't make any sense to me.
All right, yesterday we all had on our desks here at Fox, I'm showing you with my hands, that piece of legislation that Senator Reid and Mrs. Pelosi proposed. It's about a foot thick. It's 2,000 pages in length. No human being could read this thing in less than 3 or 4 days. It's filled with billions and billions in earmarks and wasted money. Is this the price that we have to pay in order to keep tax rates where we are? That the Democrats, and maybe some Republicans too, I don't know, have to give these Christmas tree ornaments to their constituents in order to take back with the right hand what they've given with the left?
Now, are you talking about the Omnibus Bill, I guess?
Yes.
The $1 trillion.
Yes.
Oh, well, no, it's rather typical. Nothing has changed. Those who are in charge now certainly haven't got the message, and we don't know whether the Republicans got the message until next year. But, of course, I've been arguing this fight for 30 years, and that's why it'd be pretty hard to find any appropriation bills I've ever voted for, because I've anticipated that this overspending and dependency on the Fed to print the money in order to cover the debt would bring us to this crisis. But the crisis is built because we haven't changed our tune. We haven't changed our tune on spending yet, or taxes yet, and of course we haven't changed our tune on the Federal Reserve. So all we have done is make our problems that much worse. But it's coming to an end. Markets are stronger than governments, and the market is saying that you just can't continue this forever. And I suspect here in the not too distant future, the market's going to indicate that they don't trust our dollar as they used to.
A certain junior senator to be from the state of Kentucky, who's on Freedom Watch with me tonight on the Fox Business Network, will tell me that were he in the Congress this week, he would vote against the tax compromise. Listen, I'm not trying to divide you from your son. I know you guys are going to be staying in the same condo. That he would vote against the tax compromise because he thinks it doesn't accompany spending. Now, in fairness to him, he can do things in the Senate that you can't do. He could pull a Jimmy Stewart and stop the Senate from doing everything it wants if it's spending too much money. Am I right?
Yeah, he could, but that doesn't change the attitude of the people. You can block things for a day or two or three, but ultimately the people have to change. They have to decide they don't want welfare and they don't want warfare, right. And then the Congress will respond. But I think what you say demonstrates how messed up this whole system is, the process that's horrible, because you have a division here. Very honest conservatives are saying you shouldn't vote for it because it's going to raise the debt. And others like myself say you're going to raise taxes $800 billion. Right. There's no absolute right answer for this. I just happen to think raising taxes now is worse than worrying about the deficit at this time, because I think they have bloated the concerns about the deficits. It's more like $60 billion, and like I said earlier, right. They're counting tax credits as spending, and tax credits are not spending.
Before I let you go, we have about 30 seconds left. You used an interesting phrase before, the markets are stronger than the government. What did you mean by that, Congressman Paul?
Well, the best example of this was in the 1970s when, in the 60s, when I was watching what gold and the dollar was doing, and we pretended the dollar was as good as gold at $35 an ounce, but we kept printing money. But the world knew that they couldn't do it. So finally, that broke down, and the gold window was closed, and then gold broke out from $35 after having been there for 20-some years. So the market overruled what the government kept lying to us. Oh, our dollar's as good as gold. So they more or less are doing the same thing now. Our dollar is as good as it used to be, and everybody's going to take it forever. But the markets eventually, even if it's in the self-interest right now of China hanging on to our dollars and not bringing us down, there will be a day somebody will precipitate an event where people will buy our dollars less, or they will dump our dollars, and the market will win out, because you cannot have a system where we can print money forever. If that were true, Judge, none of us would ever have to work. All we have to do is say, send me some money, get Bernanke to send us all a check for $20,000 every month, and we'd be so wealthy, and we'd just buy stuff from China, and we would be wealthy forever. But that's the extreme, and that's what we're moving toward, and eventually it'll be rejected.
Congressman Paul, thanks very much for joining us.